For 2 weeks only, get your own Zombie Killer t-shirt. A link is down below.
My name is NoJ456, and today we'll be explaining the entire zombie storyline in 90 seconds. Here's all you need to know from Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, and World at War.
Map 3 is Shi No Numa. The four main characters are Dr. Edward Richtofen, Tank Dempsey, Takeo Masaki, and Nikolai Belinsky. Hellhounds make their first appearance, as does the giant Tunguska meteorite and the Wunderwaffe. The crew teleport from Shi No Numa to Deriz.
But he's gone on to Shi No Numa, jumping out of a plane, where he uncovers the truths of Division 9. We find a radio from Peter's Hanley, but being defiant, he carries on with his mission. And the giant Deriz, this is the start of the story.
Richtofen meets up with Takeo, Dempsey, and Nikolai at Shi No Numa and brings them with him to fight the hordes of zombies brought on by Samantha, as they are essentially super soldiers after their exposure to Element 115. A mysterious force known as Dr. Monty helps out our four characters by giving them Perca-Colas, Pack-a-Punch, and power-ups, allowing them to better fight off Samantha's zombies. Richtofen and the crew teleport to Deriz.
Richtofen found that Shi No Numa had been overrun with zombies, so they then traveled to Japan.
We're here. This is the place. Finally. I was getting tired of Takeo's ramble. Shut up, Nikolai, and get your gear.
When the zombies started attacking in Shi No Numa, they used the comms to send an SOS signal. Nearby was an allied force. However, the respondent of the SOS signal was not the allied force, but rather the United States in the form of a recon squad of Marines.
Shi No Numa was this weird footnote in the zombie storyline. All those videos I showed you were the entire zombie storyline type videos, where people attempt to explain the entire zombie storyline, sometimes in extravagant detail, other times in a very condensed form, but in every single one of them, Shi No Numa was always this weird footnote. Everybody was like, yeah, they were at Shi No Numa, they were there, they went there to fight zombies, or they just went there to go there. And other times, they didn't even go to Shi No Numa. It was just this map, and nobody really understood what was up with Shi No Numa, why they were there, what was the point. We were all wrong about Shi No Numa in almost every single video. I will say, there was one zombie storyline video in the entire sea of them that did get this right, and it was Rad Awesome 27. When I asked Reed about it, I said, how did you know that Richtofen went to Shi No Numa to collect his diary and his notes? And Reed told me, oh, he just guessed. He made it up. He didn't actually quite know, he just had a hunch. And I will say, it was a correct hunch, because when you read the entire Zombies timeline, we learn Ultimus traveled to the Rising Sun facility to recover Richtofen's diary. Upon reading it, Richtofen begins to form his plan to defeat Samantha. And this is where we learn how important Shi No Numa was. This was something nobody ever really understood. A lot of people just think they went to Shi No Numa to fight zombies, or they went there just to see if the zombies were there. Well, why would they do that? That makes no sense. Why would you just go to a random place? It seems like an absolute waste of time. And clearly, they went there for a reason. As we learned from the timeline, they went there to recover Richtofen's diary. Almost the entire community got this wrong, and this is actually really important, because what happens next is that Richtofen goes to Deriz, and at Deriz, he drops his diary. The Russians later come to Deriz and find Richtofen's diary, and then they have that in their archives of sort of information and research on Element 115. Then what goes on is that Yuri Zarkovsky actually discovers Richtofen's diary, and in reading it, he starts to be corrupted by Samantha and the Dark Ether. And then this is what drives him insane and eventually leads to the downfall of the Ascension facility. So if you could imagine, the crew going to Shi No Numa to collect Richtofen's diary actually sets in several chain of events in the zombie storyline. It was Richtofen collecting his diary from Shi No Numa that allowed him to formulate his plan to defeat Samantha, and then him dropping his diary also allowed the Russians to recover, which allowed them to advance their understanding of Element 115, which also allowed Yuri to go insane, which led to Gersh being sucked into the Gersh device, which left him being this weird drifting ball of energy that floated through time and space, which then resulted him in appearing in Gorod Krovi. Shi No Numa actually has a lot of effects on the zombie storyline, and had Richtofen not gone to Shi No Numa, well then the Russians may not have ever recovered his diary, there would be no Pentagon Thief in 5, Ascension wouldn't be as fucked up as it is, and Gersh wouldn't be floating around Gorod Krovi, and that Easter egg step probably wouldn't exist, or the Easter egg would have gone down in a completely different manner. So, if you could imagine, Shi No Numa is a lot more important than I think anybody in the zombie storyline ever imagined, and it isn't just this footnote to be briefly crossed over like a number of people who originally thought they understood Shi No Numa did. And I'm not doing this to say, haha, you all were wrong, and look at me, I understood Shi No Numa, because even I didn't understand Shi No Numa. When I was doing my research on this video and I looked up all the different zombie storyline videos, and like I said, I only came across one that referenced him going to collect his notes, and that was Reed's entire zombie storyline video. And in that video, I had to ask Reed, I said, how did you know? Because I didn't know this, and I even went to do some research and I still couldn't find anything. It was something even I personally didn't understand. Everybody, including myself for the most part, got this wrong and had a poor understanding of how important Shi No Numa actually was to the greater zombie storyline. So I wanted to make this video kind of just to talk about when we think we understand the zombie storyline, we still may not understand the zombie storyline. The storyline is a huge mystery, and sometimes we need to rethink our understanding of things, and we need to reimagine things that we might originally write off as unimportant, because sometimes Trek includes things for a reason, and while right now it may not seem important, just wait a few years and maybe it'll come back and you'll have a revelation about how insignificant it may be. It's going to wrap things up for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it interesting. A little bit of a shorter one. Just kind of wanted to make this point that not everything is quite what it seems in the zombie storyline. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and bye.